Hello there, this is David from David Books and Comics, and today I want to talk about a little bit about Sid Shores and more about an artist called Doug Wildey. And Sid Shores, of course, as many may know, worked for Marvel Comics, the progenitor of Marvel Comics, Timely Comics, and helped to create or contribute to the work of artwork of Captain America back in the Golden Age. This is one of his creations. This is the Black Ryder. Now, the Black Ryder, the cover art here is by one of Stan Lee's favorite artists who died in his 30s and drew for Atlas Comics in the 1950s. His name was Joe Maneely. And you'll see many of Joe Maneely's work as we go through some of the early Atlas Comics. Pre-code, before the Code Comics Authority that helped to bring in elements of censorship into the comic books. Anyway, so Sid Shores was born in 1916 and died at a relatively young age in 1973 of heart seizure. Among the work on Captain America and creating the character, the Black Ryder, one of the most violent Western characters in the comic books, he also created Red Wolf back in the 1970s for Marvel Comics. Anyway, so I'll flip through what I have. This is the only issue that I have. The Black Ryder issues, of course, are quite sought after nowadays because of its early age. But this is a sample of Sid Shores' art. He was a very good artist. This one looks like it was inked by another artist, by another hand. But you can see Sid Shores had a kind of cartoony kind of style with a mix of good characterization, as you see in this face, and realism, as you see in this style of artwork. So this is what's called an anthology book, which means it carried more than one story. And as you can see here, the Black Ryder, when he met with criminals, he didn't just shoot the guns out of their hands, he actually shot and killed them. So that was a pre-code, what pre-code Westerns were like back in the 1950s. So this one was published in November of 1954. So there's a sampling of The Black Ryder by Sid Shores. And I wanted to show you this is a low-grade copy of Outlaw Kid #1, the very first Outlaw Kid. There were a total of 19 issues, and I managed to find fairly inexpensively 5 issues of the pre-code Atlas series of the Outlaw Kid. So this is the actual very first appearance of the Outlaw Kid. Now, the Outlaw Kid, the alter ego for him was Lance Temple. And there was another character created by Atlas Comics. His name was called the Texas Kid. His alter ego was also Lance Temple. And if you've ever read online versions of Texas Kid, as published by Atlas Comics, precursor to Marvel Comics, you will note that this is the exact same story, plot and story of the Texas Kid. Anyway, this is the Outlaw Kid, and this is the artwork of Doug Wildey. Now, Doug Wildey started drawing when he was in military service in Hawaii, working for a base and newspaper. Eventually, he went to work for other comic companies, and found his way in the 1950s working for Atlas Comics, the forerunner of Marvel Comics. And you can see some of the realism in his artwork here. This is his own inking. This was one of the longest running, and it ran for 19 issues, as I said. It also features Sid Shore's Black Ryder original story. So there you see. He would be, Lance Temple played a kind of, he was a, I don't know if he was a Quaker or something like that, a Mormon or something, and they didn't believe in carrying guns or violence. And so he would hide that fact from his father, and then he would go out in secret to catch the bad guys in each of the stories as the Outlaw Kid. So that's issue number 1. This is another low-grade copy of issue number 2. Again, cover art is by Joe Maneely. And you can see the level of realism that he brings and the kind of noir chiaroscuro style that he brings to his artwork. It was here in these pages that Doug Wildey really honed his skills. So, and here is issue number 4, and this is his own cover art. So it was while working for the Outlaw Kid strip for a total of 19 successive issues that Wildey began refining his art skills. His inking and his use of shading, as you see here, that gave his Western output of Outlaw Kid a realism that didn't exist in the other Western titles that they had. So that's issue number 4. This is another Joe Maneely cover, and this is a very good copy, very good to find copy of Outlaw Kid number 11. And you can see the kind of the bearded outlaws, which you don't see commonly in the comic books of those days. Doug Wildey was largely self-taught, so a lot of this is based on his own knowledge of former creators like Alex Raymond and Milton Caniff, the people that he acknowledged as the inspirations for his own art. So that's issue number 11. And this is issue number 14. Cover art is Joe Maneely. And back in the 1970s, and this is Outlaw Kid number 1, Marvel Comics published a full run of the Outlaw Kid stories, and eventually had to reprint some of the reprints that they had already done, because the Outlaw Kid, among all the westerns that they put out in the 70s, Two Gun Kid, Kid Cold Outlaw, the Kid line basically, and Rawhide Kid, the Outlaw Kid outsold them all, mainly because of Doug Wildey's artwork. And again, this is samples, kind of the realism of the characters that he drew. His style of art is called realist. You'll see more of it when I show his other contribution in the 80s and 90s to Comico, when he did a book called Rio. And so there you go. So that's number 1. This is number 3. Again, I'll just flip through it and you get a sense of this, the type of artwork that he drew. This is Rio. It was published by a company called Comico. He always signed his artwork like this. And just to give you a sampling of the quality of his art. This character is one of the more sought-after Western characters, one of the most popular, critically acclaimed Western characters. A bit like, he drew it in the style a bit like Moebius, only in his own very creative realist style. Unlike Moebius, who has an element of realism, but not quite to the detail and care that Doug Wildey put into his artwork. And I'll show you a picture of him in the back. That's Wildey. And that's why he, I think, had a deep interest in kind of creating his own Western character. This was actually written and drawn by Doug Wildey. You can see it's almost like a photograph. Realist artists are known for drawing like that. And again, he was self-taught. He didn't go to any school to learn how to draw. Okay, so that's Rio. I'll show you the rest of the series of Outlaw Kid that I got. This is number 4, number 6, number 7, number 8. This is a giant size. More Wild and Woolly Outlaw Kid Classics. That's that. And this is number 10. I wanted just to show you these. This is number 14, and they got another artist to do the Outlaw Kid, and of course it didn't sell well. So you know what they did? They reverted back to reprinting the reprints. So this is number 18, and this is a reprint of a reprint. This is number 21, 22, 25, 28, 29, and this is number 30. So these are some of the Outlaw Kid books that I have. The series ran for quite a few issues. But like I said, the more popular ones were the ones that, of course, done by Doug Wildey. So I hope you enjoyed this short foray into some of the Western books that I have. I do have more. And if you liked this little show on Doug Wildey and a little bit on Sid Shores, remember to give me that like. Thank you everyone for subscribing, and feel free to comment. Okay, thanks. Bye.